My father can buy this entire courthouse." Those words hung in the air like poison. The girl who said them? 22 years old, designer handbag, $1,000 heels, standing before Judge Caprio with a smirk that said she'd never faced consequences in her life. What happened in the next 30 minutes would change everything. But to understand why this moment went so wrong, you need to know how she got here. Her name was Madison Pierce, daughter of real estate mogul Richard Pierce. Net worth? $300 million. She'd grown up in a mansion in Newport, private schools, European vacations, everything handed to her on a silver platter. And on March 14th, she walked into Judge Caprio's courtroom like she owned it. She was there for a speeding ticket, 55 in a 35 zone, residential area, school zone. Third violation in 6 months. Most people would be nervous, apologetic, ready to take responsibility. Not Madison. She strolled in 20 minutes late, Starbucks cup in hand, sunglasses still on. The bailiff had to tell her twice to remove them. When she finally did, her eyes swept the courtroom with pure disdain. Like this was beneath her. Like everyone there was wasting her time. Judge Caprio noticed immediately. He'd been on the bench for 36 years. He'd seen every type of defendant imaginable. But there was something about Madison's energy that set off alarm bells. "Miss Pierce," he began, his voice calm but firm. "You're late." She shrugged. "Traffic." No apology, no "Your Honor," just traffic. The judge's expression didn't change, but everyone in that courtroom felt the temperature drop. "This is your third speeding violation in 6 months," he continued. "All in residential zones, one near an elementary school. Do you understand the danger you're putting people in?" Madison examined her nails, actually examined her nails while a judge was speaking to her. "It's not that serious," she said flatly. "Nobody got hurt." Judge Caprio leaned forward. "Not that serious? Miss Pierce, children walk to school in that zone. Then maybe they should pay attention." The courtroom gasped, literally gasped. Even her own lawyer looked mortified. But here's what Madison didn't understand. Here's what her privilege had shielded her from her entire life. Judge Caprio wasn't just any judge. He'd grown up in Providence's Federal Hill neighborhood, son of Italian immigrants. His father was a fruit peddler. He'd worked his way through law school, built his career on principles, not connections. And he had zero tolerance for entitlement. "Miss Pierce," his voice was quieter now, which somehow made it more dangerous. "Do you think your wealth exempts you from the law?" She laughed. Actually laughed. "Look, Judge, Caprio, is it? I'm sure you're very good at your job, but let's be real. My father donates more to this city in a year than you make in a decade. So maybe we can just move this along?" Her lawyer grabbed her arm, whispered urgently in her ear. She shook him off. "I'm just saying what everyone's thinking," Madison continued. "I'll pay the fine, whatever it is. Can I go now?" Judge Caprio removed his glasses, folded them slowly. When he spoke, every word was measured, deliberate. "Miss Pierce, let me make something very clear to you. In this courtroom, your father's money means nothing. Your family name means nothing. The only thing that matters here is the law and how you choose to respect it." Madison rolled her eyes. "Okay, great speech. How much is the fine?" "The fine for this violation is $500. However, given your history and your attitude, I'm considering additional penalties." That's when she said it. The words that would destroy her day. "Additional penalties? Are you kidding me? Do you know who my father is? He could buy this courthouse. He could buy you. So why don't we stop pretending this matters and let me leave?" The courtroom went dead silent. Judge Caprio's face remained perfectly calm, but his eyes went cold. "Bailiff," he said quietly, Please note that Miss Pierce has just attempted to intimidate this court. Madison's smirk faltered, just a little. I didn't. That's not what I meant. You meant exactly what you said, Judge Caprio interrupted. You came into this courtroom late. You showed disrespect to this court. You dismissed the safety of children. And now you've suggested that your father's wealth places you above the law. Her lawyer was frantically flipping through papers now, trying to salvage this. But it was too late. Miss Pierce, I'm finding you in contempt of court. In addition to the $500 fine for speeding, you're being fined an additional $1,000 for contempt. Madison's face went red. You can't do that. I absolutely can, and I am. My father will hear about this. I encourage you to tell him, Judge Caprio said calmly. Perhaps he'll teach you the respect your expensive education apparently didn't. That's when Madison made her fatal mistake. She pulled out her phone, started recording. This is insane, she said into the camera. This judge is targeting me because of my family's success. This is discrimination. Miss Pierce, Judge Caprio's voice cut through like a blade. Put the phone away, now. I have a right to document this abuse of power. You have no right to record in my courtroom without permission. Bailiff, confiscate that device. The bailiff moved toward her. Madison stepped back. Don't touch me. You can't touch me. Miss Pierce, you're making this worse for yourself. I'm calling my father right now. She was screaming now. Full meltdown. He'll have your job. You'll be finished. Judge Caprio stood up. His voice remained calm, but it carried authority that filled every corner of that courtroom. Miss Pierce, you are now being held in criminal contempt of court. You will surrender your phone to the bailiff, or you will be removed from this courtroom in handcuffs. The choice is yours. She stared at him, waiting for him to back down. He didn't. Her lawyer was pulling at her arm. Madison, stop. Please. Just stop. But she couldn't. Her entire life, people had bent to her will. Her entire life, money had solved every problem. She genuinely couldn't comprehend that it wasn't working. This is illegal, she shrieked. You're violating my rights. Bailiff, Judge Caprio said quietly. Take her into custody. The courtroom erupted. People were standing up. Phones were coming out everywhere. Madison went pale. Wait, what? No. You can't. But the bailiff was already beside her. Professional. Calm. Miss Pierce, please place your hands behind your back. Get away from me! She tried to push past him. That's when everything happened fast. 2 more officers appeared. They weren't rough, but they weren't gentle either. Madison screamed, cursed, threatened. My father will sue this entire city. You're all finished. Do you hear me? Finished! The handcuffs clicked into place. The sound echoed through that courtroom like a gunshot. Madison Pierce, who'd never been told no in her entire life, was being led away in handcuffs. Her designer bag fell to the floor. Her perfect hair was a mess. Mascara was running down her face. She looked back at Judge Caprio one last time. You'll regret this. He met her eyes. His voice was almost gentle. No, Miss Pierce. You will. The courtroom door closed behind her. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then Judge Caprio sat back down, adjusted his glasses, looked at the next case file. Next case, he said calmly, as if nothing unusual had happened. But something had happened. Something significant. Because what Madison didn't know, what she couldn't have known in her bubble of privilege, was that Judge Caprio's courtroom had cameras. The entire exchange was recorded. Every word, every gesture, every entitled smirk. Within 2 hours, the video was online. Within 4 hours, it was viral. Within 24 hours, it had 40 million views. The comments were savage. "This is what happens when daddy's money can't save you." Judge Caprio is a legend for this. She really thought she was untouchable. The way she said, "My father can buy you," and then got arrested. Chef's kiss. News outlets picked it up. Local, national, international. Entitled heiress arrested in courtroom meltdown. Judge Caprio stands up to privilege. When money can't buy your way out. Madison spent 6 hours in a holding cell before her father's lawyers got her released. 6 hours sitting on a metal bench in handcuffs. No phone, no designer bag, no power, just consequences. When she finally got out, the damage was done. Her name was everywhere. Her face was everywhere. That moment, "My father can buy you," was a meme. She'd become the symbol of everything people hated about wealthy entitlement. Her father was furious, not at the judge, at her. Because here's the thing about really wealthy people, they understand power, real power. And they know you don't flex it in a courtroom. You don't disrespect a judge. You don't make scenes, because power without restraint is just chaos. Richard Pierce issued a public statement. "My daughter's behavior was inexcusable. I apologize to Judge Caprio and the court. She will be facing appropriate consequences at home as well." Translation: You embarrassed me, and you're cut off. Madison was removed from her position at her father's company. Her trust fund was frozen. Her credit cards were canceled. Suddenly, she had to face the world without the shield of unlimited money. And she discovered something terrifying. Nobody liked her. Not because she was rich, but because she'd never learned to treat people like human beings. Her friends, the ones who'd hung around for yacht parties and bottle service, vanished. Her social media following turned against her. The comments were brutal, relentless. She couldn't go anywhere without being recognized, without people whispering, pointing, laughing. The girl who thought she could buy anything learned that you can't buy back your reputation. 3 months later, she issued a public apology. It was posted on YouTube. No makeup, no designer clothes. Just her, sitting in a simple room, looking exhausted. "I want to apologize to Judge Caprio," she said, her voice shaking. "I was wrong, completely wrong. My behavior was disgusting. I disrespected him, I disrespected the court, and I disrespected everyone who believes in justice." She paused, wiping her eyes. "I thought my family's money made me special. It doesn't. It just made me protected from the consequences of being a terrible person. Judge Caprio did what nobody else in my life had the courage to do. He held me accountable." The video got millions of views. Some people believed her, some didn't. But here's what matters. Judge Caprio never commented on it publicly, never gave interviews about the case, never tried to profit from his viral moment. Because for him, it was never about Madison Pierce specifically. It was about the principle. In his courtroom, everyone is equal. The rich, the poor, the powerful, the powerless. The law doesn't care about your bank account, and that's exactly how it should be. Years later, someone asked Judge Caprio about that day, about the girl who said her father could buy him. He smiled, that gentle, knowing smile. "I've seen a lot of people in my courtroom," he said, "people at their worst moments, people making mistakes, and I've learned that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is show someone the consequences of their actions." He paused. Compassion doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. Sometimes compassion means drawing a line and saying, "No, not here, not in my courtroom." That's the lesson Madison Pierce learned the hard way. Respect isn't bought, it's earned, and the law doesn't bend for anyone, not even if your father can buy the courthouse. Judge Caprio's courtroom proved something that day, something that resonated with millions of people watching online. That justice still exists. That accountability still matters. that there are still places in this world where your character counts more than your bank account. And sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to say no to entitlement, one person willing to hold the line, one judge who remembers that the law exists to protect everyone, not just those who can afford expensive lawyers. Madison Pierce walked into that courtroom thinking she was untouchable. She left in handcuffs, viral, and humiliated. But maybe, just maybe, she left with something more valuable than money. A lesson she couldn't buy. A reality check she desperately needed. And the beginning of understanding that being wealthy doesn't make you important. Being decent does. That's what Judge Caprio teaches in his courtroom every single day. Not through speeches, not through lectures, through action, through consistency, through refusing to let privilege corrupt justice. If you want to see more moments like this, more stories of real justice, accountability, and humanity, make sure you subscribe to All Rise. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story that reminds you why integrity still matters. And here's my question for you. Have you ever witnessed someone face consequences after thinking they were above the rules? Share your story in the comments. Sometimes we all need to be reminded that nobody is above accountability. Thanks for watching. And remember, in the courtroom of life, your character is the only currency that truly matters. Be the Judge Caprio in someone else's life. Stand for what's right, even when it's hard. See you in the next one.